Hey there, gang. So Aerodynamic Dog asked, how do you record all these lap steel, cinematic lap steel improvs? Let me show you. So it's pretty simple, actually. This is my studio. This is my little station here. And it's a converted garage. It's not very fancy, but it gets the job done. It was professionally set up. The walls are double thick with a special type of sheetrock. There's a mini split to keep it cool. Some sound damping in certain places that we found were helpful, especially since the ceiling isn't super high. And it's a very simple process. I sit right here at my lap steel. I usually have a pedal board right down here, but of course, as you know, I change them out regularly. I've got all my little implements, and I run from the lap steel straight into the pedal board, straight out of the pedal board, and here's, like, I guess the big secret, into the Laney Lionheart. That's that Tom Quayle modeler that just came out a few months ago. Now, before that, I would use the Simplifier or the Friedman, or I even go back to the Strymon Iridium I used for a while. But the Tom Quayle one, I've got set very clean, and it just is more natural to me for the lap steel. The lap steel has certain characteristics that regular guitars don't, as far as frequency response and how amps respond to them, and how it translates, especially with what I do. So I really like that. This runs direct XLR into my interface, and my interface of choice for the last 8 years has been the RME Fireface 802. I also have a Babyface Pro for my laptop, for my travel laptop. This thing is the best. Zero latency, great sounding preamps, great conversion, and the drivers are the best in the business. Love it. And I usually record into Pro Tools. I usually record mono, but I have recorded stereo many, many times before. I try to keep it simple, though. If I'm doing an album, I probably, if my rig, the pedal board, etc., has stereo capabilities, I probably would record left, right, but that's not necessary. And one of the reasons it's not necessary is I also have the Roland SY-1000. That's in stereo. And of course, I have a special pickup on the guitar already. So I will record mono most of the time, and there have been times where I've recorded a mono lap steel and a stereo SY-1000 signal. And that sounds pretty cool too, but that's a different thing as well. So to answer your question, for these type of situations where I'm posting these cinematic lap steel pieces and trying to figure out what rig I'm taking with me, what rig I can use for gigs over there when I get there to London, etc. These are all in mono, boom, right there. And I've got a handful of plugins I use. I do a little EQ, a little compression, because I don't compress going in normally. And that's it. And then some finalizing to bring the level up. And I'm using these little equators. I think they're called E5s. They're 5-inch monitors, because I had to get rid of my big monitors because they weren't 240 volt capable for overseas. And I've had these for 8 years. I lived in London for a year straight, and these are the monitors I brought with me. They're fantastic, so they work 120 to 240 volt, and I even have a second pair for my vinyl rig over here in the corner. That's my turntable, and I bought a second pair of these equators because they really, really, really sound great. They're very, very accurate for a 5-inch speaker. They're easy to transport. And again, they do the job at 240 volt. So I hope that answers your question. It's a very simple process. The other thing I will tell you, though, if you all take my advice on this and go take a look at this Franklin SS6, what this thing is, I couldn't live without this thing. It's 6 stereo inputs, stereo or mono, it's up to you, and 2 XLR outs. So you can run the XLR out stereo or mono into your DAW, but you can have 6 different instruments or stations set up going in. It's so handy and tidy in the studio, I can't even tell you. The Franklin SS6, one of the best things I've bought in a long time. And that's going to be very handy when I get to London. So that's what's left of my studio, because it's about 50% stripped down, maybe a little bit more than 50%. All the guitars are gone. All the guitars are gone. I only have one acoustic and the lap steel, and that's why I'm making these pieces for you until I get out of here. And there's pedal boards everywhere, but a lot of the pedals have been packed away. There's a closet full of gear that's mostly packed away, and I hope you're enjoying these pieces. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, thank you.